going? This is Josh.
And this is Ryan, and welcome to the Mighty Fish Podcast for the week of January 29th, 2017. I am Ryan. You are Josh. We have a special guest today.
I am Brandon. I am here to argue against the Nerd Ragers on why Rogue One was actually a good movie.
And there's the spoiler right there. We're going to talk about Rogue One.
We're talking
today.
Rogue One. Welcome back, guys. After a long hiatus, we're back and we're drunk casting.
That's what's up.
2017 Season 2.
Season 2. So, let's get right into it. We're talking about Rogue One today. We saw it about, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago even, maybe?
We saw it, the weekend it opened?
The weekend it came out,
Yeah, so 3 weeks ago.
Just enough for it not to be foggy by this point.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And enough time where people who are listening are fully expecting spoilers, so you've been warned.
And the hype has died down.
Yeah, this is a spoiler discussion, although what spoilers really could there be? They get the plans,
Yeah, by the way.
If you don't want spoilers, then pretty much just don't see this movie.
Don't see Star Wars.
Yeah, don't watch Star Wars. Just jump to Empire. You could call it Empire Just Strikes.
And then when you're watching Jedi, you're just like, what's this contraption they're building?
Holy my God.
And how are they going to blow it up? Do they need plans to blow it up
What's this talk of a Death Star 2? This is nuts.
That Death Star is fully operational.
It's a trap.
So, we have had discussions among ourselves, but pretty muted.
Pretty muted.
This is where we're going to get into it straight up. Let's just go ahead and start with Brandon, our first special guest on the podcast. What did you think of Rogue One, A Star Wars Story by Disney?
So I thought that it was a very good movie.
Okay.
I thought that the casual fan of Star Wars, which I would classify myself as that,
Yes,
would
very
be
much.
very entertained by this movie. Provided you know what's coming, you know the story behind it. I don't know how casual that would be in a sense.
So you agree that having a passing knowledge of Star Wars is very integral to enjoying this movie?
Yes.
You would have to have seen A New Hope to know.
I'm using casual in a sense that you have to know the underlying story. Yes, I know that that goes beyond casual.
No. But you're saying you don't need to be a Star Wars nerd. All I want to clarify is this isn't a movie for a first-time viewer to come into.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
Okay.
Like you could watch this and then go watch the first
Absolutely
Star Wars
not. If this is the first Star Wars movie you ever watched, you're going to be like, oh, this is very intriguing, and then at the very end, you're going to be like, this makes no sense at all. So basically, you have to know the story, or else...
That's true, because they just kind of drop Vader into the movie without you knowing.
Look, I just wanted to clarify that, but continue on what your assessment of the movie is, because as the listeners know, me and Josh...
Pretty experienced Star Wars fans.
Exactly. Yeah. Brandon here, not so much.
Yeah, I've seen the films.
But a fan.
Yes.
A fan. I enjoy the movies. I've seen the films. You have to know the story, but this is not a movie you can just jump into. If you're trying to... I've heard many people talk about the particular order in which you should watch the Star Wars films. Like, you should start with the prequels, and then you should go to this and jump to that. If you're going to try to use this as a jump-in point to go to the 4th, 5th, and 6th
the original
episode,
trilogy, yeah.
not the point you want to jump in at. But I mean, if you've seen the 4th, 5th, and 6th, if you've seen any of the prequels, if you've seen The Force Awakens, that's about the jumping point you need to get into it. But if you haven't seen any of those up to that, probably not the jumping point you want to get to.
That's an interesting point. You could watch, I would say, like the way what you're talking about, you could watch the first Star Wars episode 4, A New Hope. You could watch that first, and then maybe go back to this as an in between.
I had never.
and then go into Empire and move on from there.
Because
I had
there's a term for it, right? There's a term for like the order in which the new generation Star Wars fans want you to watch it in that order.
There
Yeah.
is, but a lot of purists like me and Josh would argue that that's nonsense. I don't want to get into that today.
You don't want to do that? Okay.
I don't want to get into that today.
Because I was just going to say that
Where
way.
the best jumping in point is, what I want to know as a casual fan, and I think you've said enough where people will understand what
Casual
you're
fans
at.
take on it, yeah.
Yes. Why did you like this movie? That's what I want to know.
I liked this movie because I felt like it was a good action sequence. I felt like it was a good storyline. I felt like the action was good. There's been a couple Star Wars movies that I've saw where you don't get a lot of, and I'm going to throw out air quotes here even though you can't see them, Star Wars, in essence.
Yes.
And with this movie, you definitely do. You see a lot of action.
Oh, yeah. The attack on the planet is fantastic.
The scenery in this movie is exquisite. And, you know, I mean, for the casual fan, that's really all you could ask for. And this movie provides all of it.
I can't fucking argue with you.
No, the
on
aesthetic
that
is
point.
fantastic. With
It is one of the best looking Star Wars movies ever made.
Yeah, it's aside if you put aside the muted gray, this is the darker tone.
The muted greens and blues.
Yeah,
and,
the
and
muddied
grays,
colors. Yeah. Dude, I agree with that. Actually, what you're saying, Brandon.
You can't argue with that.
Very, very much, because you get that really actually beautiful space battle above the planet where they got the plans. That was great. I loved that part. And then I also liked the look of the planet they go to with the Kyber crystal
Jeddah.
temple. Jeddah, thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, I really, really liked that planet a lot. Something about an ATST walking down alleyways.
An ATST, yes.
I liked the oppressive look of that with the Star Destroyer just floating above the city. This is a city under control of the Empire, and I really liked that they established that visually.
You've never seen excuse me. You've never seen a Star Destroyer in Atmo like that above a city. It really, the visuals of the whole movie are great. You're right, Brandon. Fucking Star Wars. This is the most Star Wars in air quotes where there's war and in the stars, as it were. Yes, it is.
And the beauty of it is like, I mean, there's background into the intricate details, like for the Nerd Rager, as in you get to see things that you've never seen before in intricate detail. And like that's
you get a feeling of the Empire.
That's what the hardcore Nerd Rager could pretty much appreciate about this film.
To an extent, yes, and
because you get a feel for the iron grip of the Empire.
And I do want to focus on the positives, what you're talking about right now. It is a beautiful looking film. Gareth Edwards is a visual filmmaker.
Oh, very much.
For sure.
He did Godzilla, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
the
dude.
Bryan Cranston Godzilla movie.
The new Godzilla movie.
Yes.
Which was very visually striking, but there were some flaws.
There were. But I want to focus on...
With Godzilla, we're not talking about.
With Godzilla. And I want to focus on what Brandon's talking about, the visuals and the positives right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's very strong positives for it.
Oh, yeah. Don't get me wrong. If you go see this movie, you're going to be entertained.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was very entertaining. I really enjoyed it myself, but I had a couple nitpicks with it. I guess you could call them nitpicks. I don't know.
I will say I have some serious problems that I wouldn't call nitpicks, but again, I'm going to focus on
and I'm not giving a pass on the hardcore Star Wars fans. I mean, there is some, I wouldn't call it nitpicks for the casual fan that come up as well.
Yeah. Well, I guess you could, as a casual fan, even have a couple problems as well.
Yeah, this is not. You're not searching through it to nitpick it.
Yeah.
There is some serious
No.
problems.
Yes, but
There are
let's
some
be
flaws.
real. Focusing on the positive you brought up.
I'm
Let's be
saying
real.
nitpicks because it doesn't. I just want to clarify.
Sure.
I'm not saying nitpicks as in like I was looking for something wrong.
No.
I'm just saying that there were some flaws with the film, but they didn't affect the overall.
I think we all went into this movie wanting to like it. Yes.
Exactly.
We're
And I
not
came out
looking to
liking
talk
it.
shit.
Yeah, and I came out
And
liking
I came out liking it. I had some criticisms in the car on the drive home.
Yeah.
And over time, some of them have taken root a little bit. But Brandon, yes, the visuals are ridiculous. The fucking, like you said, seeing the different ships, seeing the Star Wars, as
I like
it were, go
seeing
down.
stormfeel Seeing
I
stormtroopers.
feel like
march
we have to
around.
have a precursor right now for air quotes. we're just throwing these out there like crazy.
The Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, like the sarcastic tone has to carry.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It's not even that sarcastic. It's just letting you know what exactly we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Clarify.
having the different ships, the different you had the you had the Death Troopers, you had the Stormtroopers, you had the weird Tan Troopers.
They were the I can't remember the name of the fucking
Yeah.
planet that they were on. The one that had the plans.
Yeah, I can't remember,
Karis?
I can't remember that either.
Karis?
Yeah, the one with the
Karis?
shield over it.
Yeah.
Basically,
They were specific to that planet.
all
like
of
desert
that
troopers were.
and what you learned about the rebellion itself before Wedge Antilles and fucking Luke and all
Biggs
that
and everybody.
is
yeah.
all very great, and I get that, and I get why a casual fan would be like, "Wow, this is great," and why a hardcore fan would appreciate those aspects.
Oh yeah, because there's a lot of hardcore fans that are very passionate about this movie. A lot of guys that are some of the backlash that's come, some of the criticisms that have been levied against it are getting a lot of flack.
This one has a lot, much more than The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens.
It's very polarizing.
The Force Awakens kind of went like this. Everybody loved it, and then there was a split. People who wanted to continue loving it, and then people who wanted to talk shit about it.
yeah,
And
but
I
that
don't-
was ridiculous.
And I don't
I-
want to say who's right or wrong about that, whether you like it or not. Who
I think the
cares?
controversy over it is ridiculous.
Who cares? It was
because-
a well-made movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like the split on this movie
Is
was
much more
much
polarizing.
more 50-50.
Yes.
Yeah.
As in The Force Awakens, it was, I mean, 80-20. I can't even say that. It was probably 90-10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very much 90-10.
And I would agree with you that it's 80-20, but it started as a 90-10 and it went to 80-20.
Yeah, just because the
Yeah.
other 10% heard the criticisms of the other
And they-
10%.
and they
Yeah,
switch
somebody.
up,
Yeah,
and then
exactly. Somebody
it was-
told them what
it
their
was
opinions
convincing.
were. Yeah.
And there are flaws.
Somebody
in that,
told
and there
them
are
what their
flaws
opinion
in that
was.
movie to latch on to
Oh,
and
for
talk
sure.
shit about
For sure.
sure. But it was still a very well made movie. And this, not to say that Rogue One's not a well made movie,
Yeah.
but I guess let's get into it. It is a story that everybody knows the outcome to.
It does kind of suffer from that Titanic,
Titanic.
where it's just like surprise ending, the boat sinks.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like 50% of the movies that you're seeing nowadays, whether they're fictional or based on a true story,
You know the
you
outcome.
know the outcome.
Yes.
It's all about the suspense that leads you up to that.
Yes, it's all about
That's- yeah.
how the story plays out. If you know they get the plans, the story leading up to that can still be interesting.
Well,
It
because
doesn't matter
that's the story. Is we know they get the fucking plans.
Yeah.
It's
Who
how
are
do they
these
get
people?
the fucking
How
plans,
do they
and
get
who were those people?
Who were these
Yeah,
people?
exactly. Yeah.
etc. And that's, and I'm gonna be the first one to be a negative Nancy, is where I think this whole movie falls apart.
I agree. I was expecting a Saving Private Ryan kind of story, where I remember Giovanni Ribisi getting ripped up by that fucking machine gun. Saving Private Ryan spoilers. Most of them die. A big tank battle at the end. You know, just like you get attached to certain characters and you watch them perish and you feel affected by that.
Yes.
In the movie, I think the only one, and like we said, spoilers.
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 Don't even bother. We did it at the beginning.
I think it's pretty clear.
The only one whose death I felt affected by was K2SO.
K2SO. He had the biggest arc in the whole movie. He was
was-
the only
yeah.
one who sacrificed himself for the cause. Yes, they all sacrificed themselves for the cause, but it was in a very linear fashion.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
was-
wasn't.
it
It
was-
wasn't one man against the storm. Where like K2SO, he was holding that door down
It was all,
and fucking trying to do all the shit that he needed to do as a droid.
Can I say that the fact that everybody knew the outcome of this movie saved the in-movie theater experience of people applauding?
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
yes.
my god. I did not miss that for a second. And everybody knew it was going to happen. There was no like, oh, let's applaud type of moment. I love that.
that's an interesting point, and I will say that we saw it it came out on a Friday. We saw it on a Saturday. So most people saw it Thursday night, Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw it a day after.
So what? Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday. And
Yeah, but I don't think we were in an audience filled with repeat viewers.
no. But I'm saying a lot of that.
I don't think this movie's getting a lot of repeat views.
No, a lot of that is not present. Like when we saw The Force Awakens, yes, you're right. I don't fucking miss that one bit. But I don't think a lot of those viewers are there on a Saturday.
No, especially during.
But you're not wrong. This movie had those moments, and some of them, and almost because of the lack of applause from the fanboys of the audience, fell flat. Remember when C-3PO and R2-D2 win their movie for
I was
no reason?
just gonna say that, dude. And yeah, dude, there was a way to do that they didn't do, and I'll go into that maybe later on.
Do you
but-
do you think that maybe that you saw them in The Force Awakens? Maybe you thought like, oh, maybe that it kind of dulled it for
Dude.
the audience at that point.
It could be.
I don't know, man. It's just that it felt like, yes, it was fan service, obviously. 3PO is very obviously fan service. Oh,
Yeah.
look at my different arm. Who gives a shit, dude?
Yeah.
R2D2 in The Force Awakens was very dependent upon the plot.
Yeah.
And I felt like he had a natural progression into that. And then in this one, they just drop him like a bomb for no reason.
I'll say this about The Force Awakens. It had the most potential to be a huge fan servicey mess. And what did they do? R2-D2 was asleep. Luke
it was
Skywalker is not in the whole movie.
I was gonna say, dude, R2's story is kind of sad.
Yeah.
That Luke left and he went quiet. He just shut down.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad, dude. And anyway, yeah.
I think Brandon was just talking about why the fans didn't react. And I will say this, it's because of the day we saw it.
You think it's
You're-
because
you're-
you really don't think it was just because of the suddenness
No,
and out of placeness
no, no.
of the whole?
I think
You
if
know
we
what?
would have saw it opening night, it would have been more obnoxious than The Force Awakens.
I don't know, man. I think that the fact that you saw them in The Force Awakens kind of dulled that a little bit. And the fact that the movie, like, there was a certain breaking point in that movie where something had to happen. There was all this buildup, and then all of a sudden those characters got dropped in, and the audience was so eager to figure out what was going to happen. Even though they knew what was going to happen,
You're right. They did shove them right in between.
it was almost like, hey, it's like, this is going on, and we're building towards this, and then, oh, hey.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I'm trying to say. It was the 22 Jump Street moment where, yes, and we're here as well.
As well, yeah.
It was just out of nowhere. Oh, there's
It
3PO
was like-
and R2.
It was like, oh man, they're
And that's what I'm-
okay. They're going. Well, here's the thing. I guess this is where I'm different. I was kind of like, oh, they're going on the mission now. Yeah, I fucking knew they were going on the mission. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and R2 and C-3PO are there too. Yeah, I don't fucking care.
And
Would
that's what I'm saying.
Would you have cared if they were not in it?
Well, see,
No, that's the thing. You know why they were in it? Because they've been in every single
because they
Star
had to
Wars
be.
movie.
Because they had to be.
They've been in every Star Wars
And it's just, there was a way to do that, and this is what I was going to save for later, but maybe if you had R2 be more of an important plot element, like maybe he had the plans, but you would have to introduce Wedge Antilles at that time as well, because 3PO says we belong to
The
Captain
fact
Antilles at one
that
point.
no Wedge was in this movie was really weird.
It really bothered me, dude. Wedge is not getting any love, and Wedge survived all
Except
three
for
films.
no, he was in what is it, Cataclysm?
Was he in the book?
whatever book came out before Force Awakens, he was the driving force in that book.
See-
The one that had a prose.
Oh,
How do you fucking say it?
the first
a prose.
Prost.
The prose that was like really shitty that
First
everybody
person
hated.
prose that nobody liked,
First person
yeah.
prose that nobody liked. He was the driving force in that book.
Okay.
And he's gone away since then.
Yeah, and that bothers me, dude, because Wedge was always my favorite minor character because he survived all 3
Yeah.
films.
He wasn't a punk
He
bitch
was
like
the one
Biggs.
Yeah, right? He wasn't no Porkins.
He was no Porkins. Dude, and that's the thing. For this movie having so much fan service, no Porkins.
No Porkins? Really? Porkins don't get no... Why isn't Porkins a part of the Y-Wing squadron? He was a Y-Wing pilot. But no, I agree, dude. It just seems like they just throw him in there, and it comes out of left field, and you just go, oh, okay. And you don't even have time to enjoy it.
No.
And I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like, they just drop him in there real quick, and then we move on real fast. So there's no real time to react
Oh
to
no,
it.
definitely. Like for the casual fan, I mean, like these are things that you want to see.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure we're gonna get into Darth Vader after this.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I would
but-
love to talk about that.
But the fact that those two came in and you got to see him for a split second, it kind of makes you feel more comfortable with
It's kind of cool.
But you've
yeah.
already invested yourself in this story that has
into these
gone
other
on-
characters.
that has gone on for probably an hour and a half at this point.
Yeah, this was halfway through the movie.
and so
It was
I
the
think
climax,
it kind of dulls your reaction to that.
No, I agree with you. You didn't see them at the beginning.
No.
You didn't see
They-
them
they-
throughout the film.
As much as they were fan service in Force Awakens, at least they mattered
Well,
in the story.
it was-
They
people
were
complained-
literally a scene of fan service in this movie.
Well, and
that was
it's
it.
funny
That's
because
all they
people
were.
complain about the Harrison Ford Han Solo's introduction into Force Awakens and how fan servicey and forced that felt. This felt way worse to me because it was nonsensical. There was no explanation. There was no lead up to
They
it.
were just there.
They were just like, "Oh, we're here." Like I said, we're here as well, you know. And it
Do
was.
people
and then that was quick.
not like fun with Force Awakens? Do people not like fun? Like, yo, bro, we're making a new Star Wars movie, and here he's like, "I'm here. I'm home. What's up?" It's just like, yeah.
Well, you had some complaints
he's
as
here.
well.
Oh no! Don't get me wrong.
I was gonna say,
I
don't
hate
don't act.
the fucking fan service in each of these movies.
Yeah,
But in The Force Awakens, each of them led into a person mattering in the plot. In fucking this movie, as far as R2-D2 and C-3PO are concerned, they literally were just like, oh, and then have a scene of them waving, and then they're not on the screen anymore.
yeah. What's going on? Oh, I suppose we're doing something again. That was pretty much all they did.
That was
To
it.
me as a casual viewer, it made me feel like, oh,
It fell
if
short.
you didn't like this movie up to this point, I hope you like it now. We're like making you feel better.
That's actually, you know
That's
what?
funny. Where they're pulling your heartstrings.
Yeah,
I
they're,
get
they're
it,
just
yeah.
like, I don't know how you feel at this point, but we're gonna make you feel good.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty funny because I think they were worried at that point.
Yeah.
That,
That
it, was
could- do you
that
think-
it was boring.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think that was part of the reshoots? Because they did what,
I mean-
40% reshoots?
I mean, like, we'll get into
Are we not getting into that?
No, we will get into that. No, that's
I mean,
bullshit.
We'll get into this later, but like,
That's bullshit.
was it boring? Like, I mean, I don't think it.
No. It was
No,
not boring.
it was anything
No,
but
no,
boring.
It wasn't boring. I'm just saying.
Okay, well, let me get
The-
a second here.
Also, the reshoots, no. They reshot the end of the movie because they initially shot it with all them surviving. Mm-hmm. And then they also added character elements to the beginning. And that's why Cassian Andor kills a guy.
I'm surprised.
And then fucking acts completely differently the whole entire rest of the movie.
Okay, well, that opens another door for me. We'll get into that. What the fuck was I gonna say? You're talking about it not being boring.
It's not boring.
It's not boring, but I will say the final fight
Yes.
takes so long.
Yeah, the
That
third
at one point, I was just kind of like, are we going to wrap this up I did
But
get
I'm
a
sorry
little...
that I can't name names here. But like, what's the
No.
What's
No.
No, we were.
That-
That's what I was gonna tell. That's what I was just.
That was
gonna
the
get into with
only
him.
name I remember besides Jin Urso.
Jin Urso was the only one I remembered, and I was surprised you remembered
I'm
Cassian.
sorry that I can't name names here, but like there was a certain character, right, that people were complaining about wasn't in the scene on the Rebel side.
We were talking about Wedge Antilles.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
So is the complaint about that like a good complaint?
That's a
or-
very
No.
good complaint.
Yeah, well, it is a good complaint because Wedge.
It's a very good complaint.
Wedge,
Wedge is very.
If it was
important.
Biggs, it's like no Biggs.
Biggs wouldn't have been there.
Biggs was still on the planet with Luke.
Biggs was
at
still
the
on
time.
Tatooine. Wedge had
But,
been.
but Wedge was almost became an admiral after that.
Wedge was old school rebellion.
It was very prominent in the other films.
Yes,
Wedge
and
is
they
a
went out of their
badass.
way to add old footage of pilots, and
Gold leader, blue leader.
yeah, and
everybody
I
shows
credit,
up.
and I credit them for that. But
Yeah,
all of a
I
sudden
didn't
Wedge
see
wasn't
that.
there.
That didn't feel like fan service.
No,
to me,
it
dude.
wasn't. It wasn't.
Well, the thing that was funny was how bad they played up that Red 5 sucked before Luke.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
because
Red Five
the
was just
worst.
a bitch, and then
Yeah.
Luke was Red 5.
No, but you get gold leader, you get blue leader, you get green leader, but you
No,
don't
shit that
get Wedge.
shit that needed to exist is not fan service. Sure, it is.
Yeah,
but
it's also
but
things
it's a,
that
but
were
it's a
there.
good excuse.
It was there. It was there to
They have
begin
an
with.
excuse
Yeah.
for why it's there. If it had no reason to be there, like fucking R2,
No, yeah.
C-3PO, it's just like it's fan service.
The
Fuck
complaint
you.
about Wedge not being there is so valid because Wedge is so important. Wedge is a great character.
what's the
thing that cracks
timeline?
me up is that they're going to recast Han Solo,
Han Solo
but they're not going to recast Wedge Antilles, dude. I mean, Wedge Antilles, like
or Grand Moff Tarkin.
I love, right?
Yeah.
Wedge Antilles is, you can argue, a totally minor character, and I doubt anybody actually
He's
remembers
a
his
nobody.
name.
He's a nobody to anybody who is an extended universe nerd.
But he was a B-rate character that lasted all 3 films. He is more important than the other B-rate characters. And therefore, he should have had an appearance in this film. If only a few minutes, he should have been there.
Not even a few minutes, just whatever. I don't know what his call sign was in A New Hope.
He was Rogue One. Rogue Leader. He was Rogue Leader. He
Rogue
was
Leader.
Red Leader.
Red Leader. He should have just been Red Leader and called it a day.
Because they weren't Rogue Squadron until Empire Strikes
Yes.
So
Back. As far as I know.
I
And
think
this is nitpicks.
yeah, this
Oh,
is
yeah.
nitpicks.
These are nitpicks.
I think as a casual fan, like, let's move on to the Darth Vader.
All right,
appearance.
let's just get into it.
Dude,
I mean- That's something that needs to be talked about.
okay, I gotta say, for me, with Vader, I loved him.
Yeah,
I love that he was there.
I've
My
heard criticisms that he doesn't walk the same.
Oh no!
Oh,
Here's the
God.
thing. He sounds weird.
Well, 'cause
but it's
he's-
because James Earl Jones is old as
James
fuck.
Earl Jones is like 70 now.
Yeah,
dude.
he's old as shit.
I've heard people talking about his costume looking busted, but his costume
looks
busted
on purpose.
because it looked busted in A New Hope.
in the first movie, his costume looked like shit.
looked
Then in
terrible.
Jedi, it looked better. So they were like, "Do we make it
Yeah,
look
it
like
evolved
Jedi,
through- yeah.
or do we make it look like the first one?"
No, you
and
make
they
it look
tried
like
to
the
make it
first
look
one.
like the first one, and then in high def cameras, it looks fucking gay as
it
hell.
looks goofy, dude. It's so goofy. But
but
then,
like, I appreciate that.
Wow, what I mean, what a revelation now that like we can actually see that high definition can actually.
Yeah, oh yeah. And like, okay, and here's the thing. He lives in a lava castle on fucking Mustafar.
I thought that was great.
And apparently, and I would hope that you would know this, Josh, that is an old school comic reference.
it is an old school comic.
Well, there you go. So he has a fucking castle on Mustafar.
I didn't actually, I'll be honest though, dude, full disclosure, I didn't know that until I
Oh.
looked it up because I was actually puzzling over this, and I think I talked to you about it a couple times where I was just like, he's a lord. He's Lord Vader. Would he not then have, by, thinking like Game of Thrones style,
Yes.
wouldn't he then have a kingdom?
Yes.
Or some land to be the ruler over. And I loved that about his character in the film. I'm going to get into my whole thoughts right now. Where it's like, I loved that he had that lone dark tower. and he was this fucking
yeah.
demon knight of this, of this land. I thought that was fucking great. It went back to the original Vader, where he was just this scary black knight, dude. It was so great.
So
I
this
loved
Vader
that.
never made you think Anakin?
No,
Okay, good.
absolutely not. And it's just, and I'll get into that too. I loved his whole introduction. I loved that he was in the film. The one problem I have with it was just like he said, you can't just jump into the series with this movie because they just drop Vader in there like you know who Vader is.
And
Yeah,
I said
well,
this leaving the movie.
Even the casual Star Wars fan. Okay, like
No.
that's
perfect for a casual.
as a casual Star Wars fan. Like the question was, is Vader going to be in this film?
Yeah.
So
No.
as somebody who has experience with Star Wars films, did you think Vader was going to be? Was it a foregone conclusion?
We're talking as film.
Yeah, we're
critics.
talking as film
Yeah.
guys. Yeah,
I mean,
it's
but, like,
just
You
That's-
introduced
but like-
introduced a character nobody knows who
Exactly,
it is.
like, say your-
as Star Wars movie line. Like I mean, like if
Oh,
you
yeah,
had a
no.
little bit of introspective
If we had
into
some-
this story, could you expect this?
yeah.
yeah,
No, he
if
had
you're
to
an
be in.
experienced fan, and this is the problem, if you're an experienced fan, yes, you expect him to be there and you expect him to have a role. But if you're like, let's say you're fucking little 9-year-old Jimmy going to your first Star Wars film with your dad or your parents or whatever, you don't know who the fuck this guy is. There's no build up to who this guy
I disagree
is.
because you do, and because you do. Because even if you haven't seen any but one of the other films, like you expect.
Yeah, but
this
see,
guy
you're
to
still
be,
basing that off of knowledge of seeing the other films. What if you've never seen any other Star
We're
Wars
not
films?
saying that he shouldn't be there. What we're saying is you have a scene of Darth Vader and
Tarkin had a background
Yes.
before you saw Tarkin in the movie.
then you go
Vader just gets, I have to go see Lord Vader, and then he goes and sees Lord
and you
Vader
go,
immediately.
who the hell is this guy?
Who the fuck is this guy? Why is he all robo-y?
So it's like you don't
You
want them
don't
to
know
go
who
on. You
Vader
don't want
is.
a long thing of them re-explaining who Darth Vader is, but there should have been something. It was prequely, and I complained to this on the way home from the theater. To
Yeah, we
Josh.
talked about it, yeah.
I said this fucking suffers from prequel bullshit. I said you don't know who these characters are unless you've seen the other movies. And that's fine because you don't expect non-fans to see these movies, but
there is
you
a
also-
small handful
you also have
of
to
brand new
expect
guys.
these movies to be good. And this doesn't detract from the quality of the movie. It's just unfortunate they did it. The big problem is the scene at the end because it's tone deaf. It is.
Yeah,
Josh?
you know what? I'll agree. I mean,
Josh, every main character dies, and then we watch Darth Vader rip people to pieces, and then the story fucking ends.
I don't want to say that, but no, I came to that realization the other day.
yeah, I mean,
You're right. You're
I-
100% right.
I don't think that. I mean, you're speaking to an audience that's not even as educated as me on the Star Wars story. I don't think that person is going to see Rogue One as their first Star Wars experience. And who knows?
But I
maybe
see some dad that loves it, or some mom that loves it, dragging their fucking brat kid into the theater.
they're not going to like it anyway.
No, they're not.
They wouldn't. But
I mean, this is not the movie to drag them to.
No.
And if you're the dad dragging your kid to this movie as their first Star Wars experience,
Fuck you.
Shame on you. Anyway.
fuck you. Yeah, for real. You should have been showing them the original trilogy leading up to this, at least.
If they don't want to pay attention to it, wait another couple of years.
Yeah,
show it to them.
I get you, dude, but it's just that there's a brand new fan out there that has seen this. Like, I've heard a fuss about this Star Wars. I'm gonna check out this here Rogue One.
And
Yeah.
no,
my
we're
dad,
not.
my dad, for
we're-
instance, dude, the first Star Wars movie. I mean, like, I think he saw the original.
He saw Star Wars.
Yeah, A New Hope, and then I
Yes.
think the very next movie he watched
Was Force Awakens.
was The Force Awakens. So, like, there is that fan out there, but I mean, this story I don't feel had to cater to.
And no, we're not arguing that.
No. It's just I
All
use
we're
that
saying
as
is, as a filmmaking,
there should have been and established there should have been rumors of Vader and more talk of Vader and whispers of Vader, and then he has to go see Vader.
I agree with that.
Like maybe Vader summoned, like I'm not just it was because it was in the movie. I'm gonna go see Vader.
Yes.
It should have been Lord Vader has summoned me.
Yeah. You're not wrong, dude. We're not trying to argue that they need to cater to new audiences. All I'm saying is it shouldn't...
Sacrifice story.
You shouldn't have to be like, wow, this big jump in the story that doesn't make sense is okay just because there's 7 other movies that make it make sense.
Yep.
That's what I'm trying to say.
All I'm saying is, like, dude, look at it this way. Fucking, the movie was like, Krennic is the bad guy. Then it's like, wait, there's Darth Vader? Who's Darth Vader?
Yeah.
Oh, never mind. Oh, no. Krennic's the bad guy again. Oh, well, he died.
Yeah, but
wait,
like,
now Vader's fucking killing everybody?
Yeah, no,
but
dude, I agree with
but
you
like,
on that.
How far into the origin story do you want to go?
Here's the thing. If they had been straight up, where this was a supplement to A New Hope, fine. But this was Rogue One, a Star Wars story, a standalone film by Disney. It was not a standalone film.
It was not
If
at
you
all.
hadn't seen-
it's so reliant
If
on
you
New
hadn't
Hope.
seen Star Wars, this movie makes no fucking sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a perfect segue to why I think this movie's good and why you guys have critical arguments against it.
I enjoy it. It has entertainment value. Do I think it does a lot for Star Wars as a franchise? Nah.
Absolutely. not.
You know what? You know what it did for me? It made me have faith that these new Star Wars films weren't reliant on J.J. Abrams to produce a good film.
Okay.
It's a supplement. It is a very big supplement.
Decent argument.
To it shows that fucking modern filmmaking can make a kick-ass looking Star Wars movie, and that can survive past JJ storytelling, which is very fucking one-dimensional. He's a very one-dimensional type of guy.
I have my hand up like
I
it's
see it.
fucking
I
like
see it.
5th grade
Wait,
here.
the audience doesn't see it, but Josh has had his hand up for like 5 minutes. So, like, go ahead.
I have my hand up like I'm in 4th grade. Ooh. No, that's where the problem is. JJ, yes, he is a very one-dimensional filmmaker. And we're going into Rian Johnson now, and I have a lot of faith in him.
Oh yes.
This movie, for me, did not deliver what you're talking about. And that's because I didn't fucking care about anybody in that movie.
No.
I didn't.
But you know that it involves people you do care about.
Yeah, but like I wanted to get behind Jyn Erso, and Cassian Andor had a great story at the start. I was super into it when he fucking shot that guy. I was like, holy shit, there's dickheads in the rebellion. What a piece of shit.
Oh, I know.
And then he does nothing. Then he's not even cool as fuck after that. He does nothing. Like, K2SO had all the charisma, all the character arc.
You didn't need Cassian.
Yeah,
You didn't need Cassian at all. You
so-
barely needed Jyn.
my answer to that, guys, is if this movie was genuinely bad, would you
It's
be
not-
looking forward to the next film, who was also not directed by J.J. Abrams? Like,
Okay.
I
Yes.
mean, like,
But
doesn't
my-
this
okay.
create...
It's produced by J.J. Abrams, based on a story by J.J. Abrams, and fucking directed and written by Rian Johnson,
Whom I am a fan of.
who I'm
I
a very big fan
loved
of.
Looper.
Gareth Edwards. Me and him have been skeptical from the start because we don't like Gareth Edwards.
No, I did not like
He's
the
a
new
very
Godzilla.
visual. He's a cinematographer who fucking
He's-
doubles as a director.
He's Zack Snyder with a bit more experience in story.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, he's a cinematographer who wants to be a director, which is
And
great.
that's fine,
because
dude.
he makes great
And
looking movies.
exactly, he makes great looking movies, and he does have a bit of story. And I will say that there was story to this movie. It's just that the characters fell flat.
It's
for
linear.
me.
It's linear.
It's linear, and characters
here's
are
the thing.
just there to move the plot along, and that bothers
when you're
me.
making a movie where the audience knows the outcome, having a linear character progression
Yeah.
is the worst thing you could do, because it's like, well, we know they get the plans, but sure, these people are sure going to be interesting, right? Oh, wait, no, they're not.
Yeah, that was the problem for me with the movie. Was just Jen Urso starts off. There's this great story about her dad and her, and then she's got to run away and everything. Great story. Where's the payoff for that? All we see is her in a cell, and then them taking her out of a prison.
And then
transport.
she's gone, oh.
And then
But
she's
you-
all
but-
on board.
But like, you do realize that like there's going to be other Star Wars films along this series. That
No,
are gonna
this
mirror-
this ends at A New Hope. There's nothing that adds to this movie.
No, that's it.
No,
That's
I know.
it.
There's nothing that adds to this movie, but there's going to be other new Star Wars films that follows this kind of trend. That there's going to be like
That are
certain
offshoots.
stories.
You're saying that are
no,
offshoots, yeah.
Yes, but not in the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
This is everything else is new. Like it's going off.
No,
it's
I
going
understand.
off of the
I know
Force
what he-
Awakens.
I know what he's
No,
saying.
I know what you're saying. Like, I understand. Like, everything else is going to be new, but there is going to be stories like this that follow along the same lines, even though it's not baked into the old story.
But-
There's going to be other stories like this that are going to come out.
But see,
But they
the-
can't.
the-
But there's no way they can be as reliant on the original story as this. Like people.
So
like,
you're
the
saying,
Han
like-
Solo standalone movie is not gonna end with Luke Skywalker trying to fucking
Walking into
walking to the
the
cantina,
cantina.
trying to get a ride.
So you're
You know
saying,
what I
like,
mean?
without the constraints of having to fit in with the story, that you're.
But it wasn't even a constraint. It was a fucking calculated idea.
Yeah.
Where they were like, hey, do we make an interesting Rebel Alliance movie? Yeah, sure, let's start it. And then halfway through, they reshot it to make it be like, oh, but also Darth Vader's there, and it all wraps up. in a tiny
What's
bow.
funny is I liked the way that it ended with the fucking the
I have
Leia shit fucking charging off
I
into
have
light
no-
speed.
I
I thought
have
that
no
was great.
qualms.
It's the build up to that shot of her taking off into light speed. Vader showing up, and I loved that he wasn't over the top, and this was my talking about never thinking of Anakin. It wasn't over the top. There was no screaming. He didn't like pull everybody's bones out
he
of their
felt
body or
like
anything
Darth
like
Vader.
that.
He didn't feel like Anakin Skywalker.
And I felt like the fear of Vader was great, but I didn't feel like it was earned. And like you said, it was tone deaf. There should have been one of the main characters in that pod with them, trying to fight back Darth Vader.
Yeah.
That would have been great. One of them dying to Vader. It would have justified Vader's existence there and given some really cool depth to one of the characters.
We will dive more into this in part 2. This is part 1 of Rogue One and the 2016 wrap up. There are more movies to come. We have Assassin's Creed.
We got Assassin's Creed.
Spoiler
talk
alert!
about.
What a fucking piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen to it. I'm the guest as the casual Star Wars fan, but these guys watch all their movies and do their due diligence.
Yeah, we
Thanks
thank,
for being
we
here,
thank
man.
Brandon for showing up. He said his piece in closing arguments, man. Let's just
Yeah,
go over
closing
this.
arguments.
Just give us
A brief summary.
a synopsis,
overview.
a summary, an overview. Give us your review of Rogue One, a Star Wars story by Disney.
Great movie, great storyline. I know that certain Star Wars fans are going to have a problem with how the story transpired, even though they know how it ends. I just think that if you are a casual Star Wars fan and you have a general understanding of the way the story goes, you will enjoy this movie, provided you don't pick it apart. When you start picking it apart, that's when you think it's not good. It is good. That is my opinion.
It is an enjoyable movie, I will say that.
Dude, I would never take back my time in the theater for this.
No.
I enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
I mean, like, I mean, I know I've sat here for almost an hour now.
Yeah.
Like going back and forth, and I've done my fair share of picking it apart.
No.
But you know what?
I'm not a huge fan, but it is an enjoyable movie.
really enjoyed this movie, and I can't say the same for any other movie that I saw last year.
Let's put it this way. Ending. Cool? You good with it?
Ending. Yeah.
Because I heard from 4 casual Star Wars fans today, bro, and they were all very upset by the ending.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't mind the ending. I thought, as a hardcore fan, I thought it was
I don't
alright.
think that anybody was particularly happy with the ending, but I mean, you have to also go into this knowing that. I mean, like, we're throwing out spoilers.
No,
Like,
we
I mean,
We've been throwing it. We clarified at the
Yeah.
beginning, dude. Don't
I
worry
mean,
about
like,
it.
come on, man. You know how it's gonna end. Like, how good could it possibly go?
That's what I'm talking about, dude.
Enjoy the ride, and the ride was good. That was my opinion.
Okay.
All right.
I get you, dude.
Well, that's Brandon's idea on Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Me and Josh will be back talking more. We'll have a little bit more discussion about Rogue One.
Yeah,
but
we'll talk a little bit more
probably
about it.
We're probably gonna cut it short, and then we will talk about spoiler alert: Assassin's Creed, huge piece of shit.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
Oh, yeah, you saw that.
I've talked about Harry Potter a bit on the podcast.
we need to talk
before.
about fences.
And then we have Fences. And whatever else is a 2016 movie.
I don't know. Maybe we'll catch up with just what's been going on with you and me.
Whatever is a wrap up. But we want to thank Brandon for joining us. Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks a lot, Brandon.
Thank you for having me. If you guys want to do a comedy thing, I'm more than willing to talk about Sausage Party. The very
We still need to
we
see
still haven't seen
Sausage
Sausage
Party.
Party.
It's a very split
You know what?
decision. That's why I'm interested in talking about it, because like it's a very, very split decision. I haven't heard a lot of reviews on it, but I mean, it's
haven't
either
either.
That's
it's,
actually a good point.
it's
I haven't
either
either.
it's either one way or the other, man. I haven't heard no neutral ground on this thing.
But
Brandon
you know what?
will definitely be
We're gonna
back
have
on the podcast.
Brandon's gonna make another appearance. If you like what he has, leave us a comment, leave us a like. And thank you for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in.
Later.